Obviously, the first half of the year will also be, will be sort of intertwined with results, with announcements from, EM results from Chalice on our Southwest project. Then you'll also see beginning drilling, and obviously that'll attract a lot of attention and drill results.
Hello, welcome to Assay TV. Today I'm talking with Andrew Radonjic, who is the Managing Director of ASX listed Venture Minerals. Andrew, great to see you today. Venture Minerals, you have a portfolio of assets across Western Australia and Tasmania that includes nickel, copper, PGMs, and tin, amongst other things. There's been a lot of talk recently about the energy transition and the demand for critical metals, that this will create opportunities, and how this will create opportunities for miners. The metals that I've just mentioned sort of all come up in conversations about the energy transition. Your company is very much positioning itself to benefit from this trend in the market. Yeah.
Well, look, we've got a very advanced tin project on the west coast of Tasmania, and where that features quite heavily in the I suppose in electrification of society and the fourth industrial revolution going forward, and we've got an asset there we spent $35 million on. It's we did a feasibility study on an open pit back in 2012, and so it's a great opportunity. It's one of the largest undeveloped tin deposits in the world, and then we've now just sort of decided to update that study based upon going underground to make it reduce our footprint by about over 80%. We've got hydropower going past, so a lot of projects in the west coast of Tasmania, because we're so well positioned with wind power, hydropower, and going underground, is that we're pretty much hitting down that sort of ESG sort of compliance route quite rapidly.
I mean, when we talk about sort of the energy transition and battery materials, obviously things like nickel, copper, lithium come up. Tin, what are some of the developments in research into lithium-ion batteries, and particularly anodes, that make tin an exciting prospect?
Well, certainly there's been tin's known as a spice metal, so quite often you see a little bit of tin added as a catalyst or to improve storage life of batteries. It's because its conductive properties. It's features quite heavily in not only lithium ion but lead acid batteries, and continues to be a lot of research into making improvements there. You see tin copper, or copper wire encoded with tin and ribbon in solar panels. So any bit of circuitry that sits out there, tin's his main use. About 50% of it is solder, and that's most of the solder in the world at the moment. About 3/4 of it is this lead-free solder, so 96% tin. Whereas previously 10, 15 years ago was 40% lead, 60% tin. So again, it's all part of electrification and batteries. There's 5 times as much tin required in an EV than is in a fuel combustible vehicle, and a lot of that's around circuitry in those vehicles. So I think tin is very well positioned. There's that study done by Massachusetts Institute of Technology at Rio, put out a few years ago, that shows that tin is the metal most likely to be affected by technology going forwards in terms of demand. So it sort of outranks lithium and cobalt, as a couple of other ones, and graphite that you mentioned previously.
I mean, in terms of overall global tin production, what is the sort of expected growth in demand that the EV revolution is going to drive?
Well, I think the demand for the various sectors, particularly batteries, being up about nearly 4%. But numbers put out by the International Tin Association a couple of years ago sort of said that they need another 60,000 tonnes of tin metal to produce in demand just for satisfying EVs going to 2030. And when you look at that compared to the last annual production of about 320,000 tonnes, or 330, that's a significant increase in demand. And you couple that with the LME now sort of looking for responsibly sourced products, hence down the ESG path, then that sort of squeeze in supply, potential supply to companies like Apple or car manufacturers like BMW, Volkswagen wanting ESG compliant tin. Then all of a sudden there's a squeeze. There's a squeeze there in supply. There's an increase in demand. Looks like a perfect storm for tin going forwards.
So what is it about your project at Mount Lindsay that makes it so, ESG compliant?
Well, certainly, like I said, it's hydropower, which is what we're always going to use hydropower because it is basically going past that. Or we're located between two hydro dams and with the power stations there. So that's an easy situation for us to tap in. We were going in an open pit but now by going underground and putting all our tailings and waste rock into the mine, upon completion means that we're sort of looking at around about 80 to 90% reduction in the footprint. And of course, a lot of electric battery driven underground equipment. So when you go underground, from Epirock, for example, we've got a branch sitting there locally in Tasmania there. I did see just last week, battery operated two boom jumbo. So that sort of equipment, trucks, etc. It's all developing as we speak. But you can almost get that. You can get the equipment today. So and that helps support the ESG component. The west coast of Tasmania, 140 years of mining. Very, very socially acceptable, and certainly, the company's looking forward to producing its first sustainability report next year. So, we're all, I suppose, everyone's heading down that path, but I think just the natural advantages that we have where we are at Mount Lindsay helps that process.
Absolutely, producing, mining using a renewable energy is always going to be a big tick in that ESG box. And as you mentioned, I mean, your mine is in a well-established region for tin production, yeah. That's
correct. We're only like top of Mount Lindsay. I can see the Renison Bell tin mine, Australia's only operating tin mine. It's been going for 140 years. Something like over 500 million tonnes of tin metal endowment. That's been produced and in resources at the moment. So we hope to, in our exploration program, we have the same host rock trending into our area. So we're currently just started a little bit of exploration to try and see if we can find a repeat of that deposit sitting on our land block. But it is essentially Australia's premier tin district. So we think there's a great potential to find a lot more tin based upon our current resource base.
And in terms of the sort of next steps for the project and the sort of eventual size of the mine you're planning, what have you got in mind?
Well, look, the scoping study we did on the underground, we were looking at 500,000 tonne per annum plant, around about 8 years mine life. So that's initially what we're looking at doing. We will be looking at, as part of the underground feasibility, which you've just started, and we're collecting around about 10 tonne of metallurgical sample, is to do things like ore sorting trials to see if we can make those stopes bigger underground and maybe increase the size of that, maybe access, hopefully, double those tonnes and maybe claw back some of that low-grade halo and upgrade it through the plant. But what the plan is over the next couple of years is to get that permitting done for the underground mine, look at getting the updated feasibility completed. We don't have to do any more additional drilling, but if we're successful with our exploration around the mining area and come up with a new discovery, obviously add that to the mine plan. And so that, essentially be like every other mine on the west coast of Tasmania, being, multi-decade type of opportunity. But, for us, we see a great project, production potentially, this time in about 3 years' time. So probably building it in 2024, hopefully late 2024, starting to produce our first tin.
Excellent. And in terms of sort of the capex, it's quite a low capex, I believe.
That's correct. Yeah, we were targeting around that $50 million mark. So that's, we got very, very close to achieving that. But we're looking to settle those numbers down in more detailed work. With the network we're going to be doing early next year, and sort of do that sort of, like I said, produce another DFS and get that sort of level of accuracy right down to where we are at the moment.
Absolutely. Moving on to one of your other projects, your Southwest project in Western Australia. working with Chalice there on what I think they've described as a Julimar lookalike. Tell us a little bit about that. Nickel, copper, and platinum group metals, yeah?
Yeah, look, a great partner to have with the market cap. They've got well over $3 billion. Yeah, look, we're very fortunate. We picked a good block of land there, which we sort of started exploring for copper, lead, zinc, or what we call VMS deposits, which is our ASX ticker, by the way. But when we drill the hole, we end up getting cobalt, nickel, copper, a little bit of palladium. We couldn't quite work out what it was in 2018, and we had a big copper company come to site and have a bit of a look. And likewise, it didn't fit any geological model, but Julimar got discovered, probably 70 kilometres from where I'm sitting, and all of a sudden got a knock at the door, and now they're on site doing EM, ground EM on top of our airborne EM anomalies, but almost a replica in terms of magnetic anomaly. We've got EM anomalies. They'll confirm those as drill targets. We're in this Western Yilgarn region, which they've identified as a nickel copper PGE province. So we're ticking a lot of boxes, Leo. So I think I'm feeling pretty confident. They'll come up with targets, and they'll need to drill test those in the first half of next year, because it needs to be up to $1.2 million spent by the late July, and once it starts raining down on the Southwest project, because it's in the state forest, they can't operate there. So probably need to get that completed by June at the latest. So looking forward to that activity by Chalice, and hopefully they can repeat their success. We're banking on their IP and all the knowledge learnt at Julimar, and applying that on the Southwest project.
Absolutely, and that's an earn-in agreement, isn't it? I mean,
that's correct. Yeah, they can earn up to 70% by spending $3.7 million. Should they get to the opportunity to have found another Julimar lookalike, then obviously we'd love to hold our 30% and participate, or they can write us a big check and we can leave. It's all good.
Absolutely, but it's still quite early days for that project, but I guess looking promising so far.
Well, look, we did a lot of groundwork on there, so it allows Chalice the opportunity to go and walk up and essentially drill it. So a lot of targets, and that's why their IP in terms of working out which target they can drill first will hopefully bring forward that discovery. So yeah, look, I think it's early stage, but we spent a couple of $1 million on it already before they hit the ground. We drilled five or six holes, and got, like I said, some results of interest for Charles to follow up.
Excellent. And so in terms of sort of key milestones that sort of investors should be looking for in 2022, what are those?
Well, certainly drilling at Mount Lindsay, including the metallurgical drilling, we've got a great intersection instead of our 93 metres at 0.5% tin equivalent. But you'll see some more results come out for that. That'll be ongoing. Looking to fire up the exploration again, so news flow from that. That'll be very much in the first half of the year, as we get all the if you like all the sample and get the data for the feasibility study to work on crunching numbers in the second half. And obviously the first half of the year will also be will be sort of intertwined with results, with announcements from EM results from Chalice on our Southwest project. Then you'll also see beginning drilling, and obviously that'll attract a lot of attention and draw results following from that. So there's a fair bit of news flow. We've got an iron ore project which we started, got one shipment out before the price fell, but essentially the mine, we can turn it on very, very quickly. So we've got a bit of a free option on producing shipments of iron ore should the price bounce back in 2022, which people are predicting, but obviously time will tell.
Absolutely. Well, lots of news flow to look out for, and lots of exciting projects on the horizon for you. Best of luck for the end of the year and the start of 2022. But thank you very much, Andrew, for joining us today for this update.
My pleasure, Leo. Look forward to talking again.
Thank you.